Recently, there have been several developments in the case involving the murder of Botham Jean by Amber Guyger. To my dismay, when we take a closer look at this event and several other events that have happened in conjunction with it, it becomes apparent that we are bearing witness to more of the same satanic blood sacrifice rituals. For starters, Benjamin Crump was the attorney for Botham Jean's family. Attorney Benjamin Crump was also involved in other high-profile cases across the country, which lets us know that he has been selected and handpicked to participate in each of these rituals by the orchestrators of these events. He was the attorney for Trayvon Martin's family, whose son was shot and killed by George Zimmerman. He was also the attorney for the family of Michael Brown, who was shot by a police officer in Missouri. He was the attorney for the family of Tamir Rice, who was killed by police in Cleveland, Ohio, while holding a toy gun. He was also the attorney for the family of Kendrick Johnson, a high school student who was found dead at his school in Valdosta, Georgia, under mysterious circumstances. And he was also the attorney for Corey Jones, who was killed by a plainclothes police officer while waiting for a tow truck in South Florida. All of these incidents involved the beast system of the dragon in the belly of Babylon devouring our children. On October 1st, Amber Guyger was convicted of Botham Jean's murder, and she was sentenced to only 10 years. During the sentencing phase, Botham's 18-year-old brother said he forgives her and asked her for a hug. They then shared an embrace which lasted for several minutes.
I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please?
Botham's father went on to say in church that he wants to be Guyger's friend.
I'd like to become a friend at some point in time. I think I have the ability to do this. Yeah, I can be.
Interestingly enough, the meaning of the name Texas, where this incident occurred, is friend or ally. Coincidence? The judge, Tammy Kemp, also embraced Guyger and gave her her own personal Bible. Apparently, this display of love and compassion by the victim's family and the judge was just too much for Satan and his minions to handle, because the Freedom from Religion Foundation filed a complaint against the judge.
In the last hour, we learned about a complaint against some of the judge's behavior in the Amber Guyger trial. The Freedom from Religion Foundation filed a complaint with the state over this interaction in which Judge Tammy Kemp gives Guyger a Bible, she counsels her, and then reads some passages to her.
I must mention, however, that the black judicial robe worn by Judge Kemp is actually symbolic of the false god Saturn. Priests of Saturn would wear black robes. We will come back to the connection to the false god Saturn and its significance in a moment. For now, let's continue with the trial. Joshua Brown, who was Botham Jean's next-door neighbor, gave testimony during this trial. Therefore, we are witnessing Joshua's testimony, or Yehoshua's testimony, which is a reference to the New Testament and the Messiah. Joshua Brown claimed that even though he was Botham's neighbor, he never actually met Botham until the day he was murdered.
What planet you mean? Both? Yeah, yes. Well, I met him that day.
However, he was extremely emotional on the stand. Needless to say, this entire trial has been emotionally taxing on everyone involved, and even on those of us watching from our living rooms. However, I would like for you to suspend your emotional reactions to what you are witnessing for a moment, and instead, I would ask you to approach this entire incident in a purely pragmatic, logical, and analytical fashion, because in using clear and sound reasoning, absent of all emotion concerning this incident, you will be able to perceive the truth, attaining awareness and understanding of the blood sacrifice rituals being performed in front of your eyes. In his testimony, Joshua said he used to hear Botham Jean singing gospel songs and Drake.
Heard him singing every morning.
Okay, you heard him singing. What kind of things did you hear him sing?
Gospel music, Drake.
The word gospel means the teaching or revelation of Christ, which points us to the book of Revelation. The name Drake means the dragon, which is a name for Satan. Joshua's choice of dress was also very interesting, since he chose to wear a Dragonball Z t-shirt instead of a more conservative form of apparel like a collared shirt and slacks, being a witness in a murder trial. Dragonball Z is a Japanese anime television series. The series begins when a humanoid alien arrives on Earth in a spacecraft and tracks down Goku, revealing to him that he is his long-lost brother and that they are members of a near-extinct extraterrestrial warrior race called Saiyans. The pinnacle of Saiyan power is the Super Saiyan evolution and its subsequent levels, all granting increasingly enormous power to the Saiyan who achieves this extraordinary feat. A Super Saiyan God is one iteration of these transformations, which grants the user divine energy. In other words, Dragonball Z is about turning man into God. This connects to the strange interview at the Emmys, which was given by Terrence Howard, who plays Lucius on the TV series Empire. The term Emmy is a French alteration of the television crew slang term Emmy, spelled I-M-M-Y, the nickname for the image orthicon, which is a tube that rapidly scans an optical image and converts it into electronic signals. The image orthicon tube revolutionized what was possible to be shown on TV. The Emmy, which is a statue of a woman holding an atom, got its name from the image orthicon. Interestingly enough, the atom, carbon-12, one of the 5 elements in human DNA, is composed of 6 protons, 6 electrons, and 6 neutrons, which equates to the number 666. Notice Terrence Howard is wearing a dragonfly pendant on his vest, again connecting back to Dragonball Z, a symbol calling for the dragon, or Satan, and his Antichrist, 666, to take flight. During this interview, Terrence went on a rant where he mentioned walking on water for tips.
Why would I continue, walking on water for tips when I've got an entire generation to teach a whole new world?
This was an obvious reference to the Messiah walking on water. He also went on about opening the flower of life and discovering the science Pythagoras was searching for.
I've made some discoveries in my own personal life with the science that Pythagoras was searching for. I was able to open up the flower of life properly and find the real wave conjugations that we've been looking for 10,000 years.
Pythagoras is connected to the transmigration of the soul in the 47th problem of Euclid. Theologians and ancient philosophers like Pythagoras used the equilateral triangle as a symbol representing the 3 aspects of divinity in God and man. And again, according to sacred geometry, this divine trinity remains essentially whole and untouched in the physical form, located precisely at the center point of the body at the base of the spine, which in Eastern philosophy is known as the root chakra. The root chakra is symbolized by a lotus flower with 4 petals in the color red. It is considered the foundation of the energy body in the place where the kundalini or divine energy of the serpent awakening begins. Therefore, when Terrence Howard claims that he has learned the secret to opening up the flower of life, he is speaking of taking the journey of man being transformed into a god. This connects back to the Super Saiyan transformation in Dragonball Z, which gives the power of divine energy to the practitioner. It should be noted that the letter Z in Phoenician was Zayin. The Semitic symbol was the 7th letter, named Zayin, which meant weapon or sword. Therefore, with both Joshua's testimony and Terrence Howard's rant, we are being shown the symbolism of a man being transformed into a god. This man is connected with the dragon, who represents Satan, and then the letter Z connects Satan with a weapon or sword, which is symbolic of war. The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verses 7 through 12, depicts the war in heaven in which Michael and his angels fight against the dragon and his angels. This is the truth of what we are actually being shown. A few days after this announcement, Terrence Howard received his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It should be noted that the word fame is connected with the word blasphemy, which means to speak irreverently about God or sacred things. In fact, this is the actual price of fame that celebrities must pay. They must sell their soul to Satan and blaspheme God in order to reach stardom. When speaking of the beast who is given power by the dragon to make war with the saints, Revelation chapter 13, verse 5 through 6 declares, "And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven." Terrence Howard's star on the Walk of Fame can be connected to Revelation chapter 9, verses 1 through 2, which declares, "And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit." We are told the identity of the king over the angels of the bottomless pit in Revelation chapter 9, verse 11, which declares, "And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon." Remember, Terrence plays Lucius on the TV series Empire, and like the king of the bottomless pit, his character was locked in prison as well. The name Lucius means light, brightness, and to shine. This is a reference to Lucifer, the light bearer, and his coming empire, the New World Order, which will be ruled by the Antichrist. The name Lucius should also resonate with you in connection with the Botham Jean case, since Jean's family is from St. Lucia, once again connecting this entire incident back to Lucifer, the light bearer. The shooting of Botham Jean happened in Southside Flats. This connects this shooting to the #1 candidate for Antichrist, Obama, since he is from the South Side of Chicago. In fact, there was a movie released called Southside With You, which tells the story of Barack and Michelle Obama's romance. Unfortunately, the day after Amber Guyger was sentenced to 10 years, this young man, Joshua Brown, who gave such a moving testimony, was shot and killed at his home.
Police tell us a witness in the Amber Guyger murder trial was actually gunned down at an apartment complex in Dallas. Guyger, of course, is the former Dallas police officer who shot and killed Botham Jean as he was watching TV in his own apartment. Joshua Brown, the man you see there in the green shirt, he lived across the hall from Jean. He was a key witness in Guyger's conviction.
Just days after he gave that emotional testimony in the murder trial of Amber Guyger, Dallas police sources tell WFAA Joshua Brown was shot and killed.
One shot and then a double tap after that. That was it.
This occurred in the 4600 block of Cedar Springs Road around 10:30 p.m. on Friday. It should be noted that Brown was rushed to Parkland Memorial Hospital, which connects this shooting back to the orchestrated mass shooting which occurred at Stoneman Douglas in Parkland. This also connects it with Masonic symbolism, since workers of stone are stone masons. There is plenty of symbolism to be found in this young man's assassination. Since Joshua Brown was shot in the 4600 block, the number 46 connects to Obama's reading of Psalm 46.
Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth.
The name Cedar Springs connects to King Solomon's temple, since cedars were used in the construction of King Solomon's temple in Jerusalem. This also connects to the Knights Templar, who worshiped the goat or Satan. The Templars were said to have carried out excavations on the Temple Mount, supposedly unearthing treasures and artifacts like the Spear of Destiny and the Ark of the Covenant. The time and day, 10:30 p.m. on Friday, connects to the unlucky day of Friday the 13th in the Knights Templar as well, since this is the day the Templars were persecuted. But more than that, Parkland Hospital is the same hospital JFK was rushed to after he was assassinated, connecting this shooting to a deadly head wound and the ultimate satanic blood sacrifice ritual, which occurred on 11/22/1963. Joshua Brown was shot in the 4600 block, and JFK was 46 years old at the time of his assassination. The location of JFK's assassination, Dealey Plaza, is the site of the first Freemason temple in Dallas, and it is shaped like a pyramid with the capstone missing. The old courthouse nearby, which looks into Dealey Plaza, is decorated with gargoyles. On the top of the courthouse is the symbol of the ancient order of the dragon or snake. Dealey Plaza to the secret societies is a sun temple. Therefore, Kennedy was assassinated in an outdoor temple of the sun. This goes to show you that these events are all blood sacrifice rituals meant to spill innocent blood in order to bring forth Satan through his Antichrist and his empire, which is the New World Order. Joshua Brown was shot and killed at his home at the Atera apartment complex. It should be noted that the Hebrew meaning for the name Atera is pray, which, I might add, is what we all should be doing. As if these events weren't enough to deal with, we were also shown an orchestrated event during a speaking engagement being held by Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Remember I told you earlier about the black robes worn by judges, priests, and members of the occult, and how they are connected to the black robes worn by priests of Saturn. Well, during this event, a woman stood up and said, "We have to eat the babies in order to save the planet."
We're gonna be here for much longer because of the climate crisis. We only have a few months left. I love that you support the Green Deal, but it's not getting rid of fossil fuel. It's not going to solve the problem fast enough. A Swedish professor saying, we can eat dead people, but that's not fast enough. So I think your next campaign slogan has to be this: we got to start eating babies. We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2. All of you're a pollutant. Too much CO2. We have to start now, please. So we have to get rid of the babies. That's a big problem. Just stopping having babies is not enough. We need to eat the babies.
Eating children is a reference to Saturn devouring his son. Part of the mythology connected with the false god Saturn is that he ate his child. But wait, it doesn't stop there, because you have to realize that the false god Saturn is just another version of Satan, the dragon. Therefore, the suggestion to eat the children is connected with Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 through 4, which declares, "And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pained to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born."
We need to eat the babies.
The woman represents Israel, and as we have seen, the dragon has already devoured so many of her children. Notice this occurred in Corona, New York. Corona means crown and refers to a colored circle often seen around and close to a luminous body, such as the sun or moon. This connects back to the glow of a Super Saiyan who is filled with divine power. Now, I want you to notice that Joshua Brown, who wore the Dragonball Z t-shirt, whose name in Hebrew is Yehoshua, has a tattoo of Jesus Christ on his chest and is drinking a Corona in this picture.
We don't have enough time. There's too much CO2.
It should also be noted that CO2 is 1 carbon atom combined with 2 oxygen atoms. This connects back to the Emmy and the mark of the beast, or number 666, found in the carbon atom. In CO2, both of the oxygen atoms have a value of 16, and the carbon atom has a value of 12, which, when added together, gives us the number 44. This connects to the mysterious stranger, number 44, Satan, and Obama himself, who is also number 44. October 6, 2019, there was a mass shooting at the Tequila KC bar in Kansas City.
Well, Well, we're gathering information as we go. We do know the Colts play the Kansas City Chiefs tonight. They are in the Sunday night football game, and our team is there. We have Dave and Taylor from Channel 13 already down in Kansas City, as well as people here in the Indianapolis area who are heading that way, of course, to watch the game tonight live. So here's what we know so far about that shooting. As you said, 4 people were killed. We just heard all 4 are Hispanic males. A total of 9 people were shot. All of this happening at a bar around 1:30 this morning at Tequila KC Bar. That's on 10th Street and Central Avenue, if you're familiar with the Kansas City area.
The word tequila means a place of tribute. A tribute is an act, statement, or gift that is intended to show gratitude, respect, and admiration. Notice the reporter works for Channel 13. There were 4 dead and 9 hurt. 4 plus 9 equals 13 as well. And the shooting occurred at 1:30. It is not a coincidence that so many details are connected to the number 13. You will notice that this reporter is standing in front of Lucas Oil Stadium, and she told you that the Colts would be playing the Chiefs later on in the evening.
Well, we're gathering information as we go. We do know the Colts play the Kansas City Chiefs tonight. They are in the Sunday night football team.
You may recall my recent video about Andrew Luck's sudden retirement, in which I told you the horseshoe of the Indianapolis Colts is a symbol for luck. This is to be contrasted with the number 13, which is symbolic of bad luck. Also, the Colts represent the rider on the white horse, which is a reference to the Antichrist found in Revelation chapter 6, verse 2. You may also recall that Lucas Oil Stadium is connected to Lucifer's oil and is a reference to the Antichrist spirit anointing a particular person, turning him into a god. Remember I showed you the movie Perfume, where a man anointed himself with a concoction of oils and fragrances, which caused people to worship him as a god.
This is no man! This is an angel!
Therefore, the tribute being given to the dragon, Satan himself, are the blood sacrifices of these innocent victims, which are meant to bring forth the Antichrist and his new world order. If you have not given your life to the Most High by accepting the blood sacrifice of the Paschal Lamb, Yahushua HaMashiach, the time to do so is now. The war is coming. In fact, it's already here. Which side do you choose? The sheep or the goats? I implore you to choose wisely. Amen. Shalom.